So I watched Mulan. I actually watched it the day it came out. I just didn't make a video about it. So I watched Mulan, and it was crap. Okay, it was crap. It was bad. It wasn't very good. But there's something I want to talk about. As an individual who is naturally gifted in the art of telling stories, myself, or at the very least, I have a very, 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 very strong ability to recognize and understand themes and tropes of stories. I'm pretty sure part of it came from me actually like writing stories and thinking critically about them and and whatnot. But the long and short of it is, I understand stories very well. I love stories. I'm a storyteller. But the long and short of it is, there was something I began to notice about Mulan. Now Mulan is a Mary Sue, and I'm just going to come right into the act. She's a Mary Sue. But she is a Mary Sue that the movie attempts to try to make a little bit more reasonable. They do give Mulan some training. They do give Mulan some struggles. Mulan isn't really a Mary Sue that kind of curb stomps physically she curb stomps everything, but there is some degree of an internal struggle that happens in the movie. The problem is that the internal struggle is overcame not really through her accomplishing anything or her doing anything or her really recognizing anything. It's just that the one witch lady is like, you pretending to be a man ruins your chi. So she's like, okay, time to be a badass, and then she does it. And I don't like it. I don't really like how her femininity doesn't really show us its strength. Like the whole, in the original Mulan, there's a lot of things that Mulan does very subtly. Like, number one, which is going to be a very important point later in the video, is that Mulan doesn't really fight anyone using her physical strength as much as she uses her clever ingenuity to outsmart her opponents. In fact, in the final confrontation with I think was it Shang Yu, she doesn't use a sword. She actually uses a fan to disarm him. Number one. Now, of course, the very, very heavy and obvious theme here is that she's using her femininity to overcome the male's masculinity. I mean, you could actually even look at it in a very sexual sense, as she used an open fan to take the sword in there, and you could do that, but that may be thinking a little too much into it. But the point is, Mulan isn't using her strength as a male, or she isn't using the male typical physical strength to overcome him. She's using her ingenuity and her intelligence and her ability to maneuver in order to defeat Shang Yu, right? So that's in the original Mulan. It's actually it's a really well done movie. But in the remake, what they do is they make Mulan the ultimate dragon warrior, or maybe the ultimate phoenix warrior might be a little more accurate, because she has this phoenix that follows her around for some reason, which is interesting to me. That again, I think phoenixes, I could be wrong here, oftentimes represented as female entities. I might be wrong in Chinese folklore. Pretty sure I am. But of course, a dragon would be much more masculine and phallic shaped thing. So, just as far as symbolism goes, you couldn't use something as aggressive as that to represent Mulan because reasons, right? So the whole point, which ironically doesn't really make any sense considering the fact that the remake Mulan is far more aggressive, and combative than the original, right? So anyhow, the point is, when they remade Mulan, they turned her into the ultimate dragon warrior, a little bit of a Mary Sue. The reason why I say a little bit is because she is challenged by the plot in many different areas. She does have internal struggles, which is how you make an overpowered character physically. If a character is physically too strong to be challenged by the plot, then you make them challenged eternally, or challenged by their morality, or challenged by the way they feel about something, right? That's what they did with Avatar: The Last Airbender. Aang honestly had the power to defeat Fire Lord Ozai, if he just entered the Avatar state, but he didn't want to kill him. So with Aang being so powerful, even though he was a 12-year-old kid, how are we going to make it? I mean, he was challenged physically by Ozai, but once he hit the Avatar state, it was game, set, match. But the point is, if you're going to make a character too strong for anyone to defeat, what happens reasonably in order to make this story have some degree of tension is have them challenged by who they are as people. So Mulan was, in some degree, with her trying to, pretend that she was actually a man when she was really a woman. But again, that gets solved so quickly. It's a little anticlimactic how quick it gets solved, So, yeah. that's not really what I wanted to talk about the video. I didn't really want to talk about Mulan too much thematically, all that much, as I wanted to talk about Mary Sue's and why they exist the way that they typically do, or how they have existed, you know, so far, you know, with Rey, with Captain Marvel, and now with Mulan. And the reason why these, just to be frank about it, the reason why these women exist in this manner of being so incredibly overpowered is because no matter how you slice it, when you think about how a woman would fight a man, you would recognize in reality there is no fight. There's no contest. There's nothing there. The strength difference between males and females is astronomical. I remember one day, this was a long time ago, back in high school, I did an arm wrestle with this one girl. I kind of had a crush on, and I don't even remember what the scenario was that even got us there. I think we were all just arm wrestling in general, and then she was there, and I was like, I don't know what happened, but I was arm wrestling her, and I really didn't have to do. I wasn't even trying to beat her. I just was resisting, and that's what she said. She was like, "He's not trying to win. He's just resisting me. I can't do anything because it's astronomical. It's not even fair." I remember one time I had like this hand gripper, right? This one's like 200 pounds actually, but the one I originally had was like 100 pounds, and I was using it in class, and I could actually close this one. This one actually, my hand's gotten a lot stronger since then, but So I was closing it, the 100-pound one, and a female friend of mine asked if she could use it, and I was like, yeah, sure. And of course, you know, she couldn't even like close the thing. Like there's nothing she could do. She couldn't even budge it. It was stuck like this the whole time. Even after I showed her how to correctly close it, and she certainly wasn't gonna do it that way. The point is, even as teenagers, right, the strength difference is just, it's night and day. It's not even fair. It's not even fair how much stronger men are to women. You know, and honestly, you would think that women would respect that a lot more often than they do, but they don't, because as it turns out, men actually really like women, so most men don't take advantage of how much stronger they really are to women. And the men that do oftentimes are derided because there's no honor in taking on an opponent that is far weaker than you. That's why you're not supposed to hit a girl. That's why. It's because there's no honor in it. There's nothing to be proud of in overcoming someone so much weaker than you physically. That's why you don't hit a girl. That's why you have some respect. That's where the integrity in that point comes from. You know, it's not so much saying that no woman could ever be dangerous, but like, unless the woman is endangering you, like taking advantage of your strength that way has no honor, and there's just no reason for it. We all understand this, you know, societally, you know, colloquially, we all understand it, we all grasp that. But like, the problem is when you create a movie and you have a female protagonist in there, like in an action movie specifically, there is no situation where she will realistically be able to overcome these males. Now with Mulan, they circumvene this pretty intelligently. Not only do they give Mulan, I'm talking about the original one, some training. You know, they have a whole training montage where we see her strength improve, but we see that even when she does, she never actually really, no, she does. She fights Shang Yu at the end, and she doesn't really even like scrap with him as much as she's just running around and escaping him, you know. She never like fights them with the sword. She never fights them power for power. She beats them with her mind. How does she beat the Hun army? It's not because, you know, she shot the leader point blank in the face with a missile. It's because she used the avalanche on the mountain. She used the snow on the mountain to create an avalanche that wiped them all out, save for 7 of them because, you know, I don't know, I guess hypothermia doesn't fucking exist for those guys. But the point is, Mulan wins not because she's stronger than them, but because she's smarter than them and she thinks outside of the box, which was, I think, was one of the more important themes of what the original Mulan was trying to really show us. Is that Mulan wasn't really so much as a masculine person as much as she was very feminine. Like, in fact, if you watch the original Mulan, you can find that Mulan really finds a lot of men kind of gross. She's not really masculine in any way. You know, Mulan is very much a woman. She just doesn't really fit in with the way femininity was in China at that, I guess in the context of the movie. I can't say at the time because it's not really reflective, but you guys, I'm being pedantic. The point is, Mulan is overcoming her trials with her femininity. That's the theme of the movie, that being a woman or being feminine isn't a weaker or lesser form of masculinity. It's just different, which you would think would be the ultimate feminist movie, but it's not, because feminism isn't about equality or any respect for males and females. Is about destroying gender roles and making women feel good about themselves and validating them for their mere existence. Anyhow, the point is, the reason why we have these Mary Sues in the form of Rey and Captain Marvel and now recently Mulan is because without any help, without any supernatural influence or power bonus, the stat check that is male-female strength is males just going to bulldoze over most women. Even if a woman learns Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if a man also knows Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, she's still probably fucked. And most guys probably could still deal a lot of damage to a woman who knows Jiu-Jitsu with his brute physical strength. He probably can just bulldoze through a lot of women like that. I mean, it's better to know it than to not know it, but realistically, it's not fair. And look, I didn't make it this way. That's just how it be. It's not fair. So in order to create a film that kind of makes any degree of sense, because I mean, we do have to suspend our disbelief with mystical magical powers. If we have a normal woman just going around fighting dudes, it just looks bizarre, because we all understand, like, we all get it. Like, we do. We understand. It's like, like, we get it. Like, she's not really going to win, it's... So we have to find some way to balance the equation. And the balancing of that equation, that is males just being physically stronger than women, is to give her superpowers. If she's got superpowers, if she's got strong chi, if she's got the Tesseract, Space Stone energy, if she's just really strong in the Force because she's the daughter of a clone of Palpatine, I believe, then... well, now the equation is balanced. Now she can fight on an even playing field. And the reason why, and now here's the second reason why we get lots of Mary Sues. I wouldn't say lots, but why recently we're getting many Mary Sues, right? And that kind of has not just, an explanation as to how the woman is able to fight very well, or like how a woman is able to exist in an environment that is predicated on fighting, but also because most people aren't really fans of watching women suffer. Just kind of the long and short of it. Like, here's the thing. Feminism is a thing. Feminism has made it as far as it has because men like women. Like, for as much as people want to bitch and complain about when incels, MGTOW, the manosphere, pickup artists, what else? Betas, the guys in the friend zone, entitlement, blah, 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 blah. The long and short of it is, feminism, or women have gotten as far as they have because men love them. That's just the long and short of it is. Men in general, whether it's just they want to put their penises inside of them, or whether they just want to give them the best life they ever could have had, men love women. Men are not incredibly sadistic creatures who just want to see women suffer, right? And in an action film and an action movie, you'll notice that male heroes get put through the ringer. Female heroes do not. Female heroes do not get put through the ringer, because if they do, it would look really, really bizarre and kind of vicious. I'll give you a really good example of this. Lots of people are very, 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 very uncomfortable when Spopovich beat the ever-loving hell out of Videl. He beat the crap out of Videl. Now, honestly, realistically, if you look at the context of Dragon Ball Z, that's actually not bizarre. The only thing that makes it bizarre, that beatdown, like, listen, we've seen Frieza beat down Goku. Then we saw Goku beat down Frieza. We saw Vegeta beat down Goku as a giant ape. We saw... what else? I mean, we saw, what? Cell was beating the hell out of Gohan for a while, and Gohan was like an 11-year-old kid at the time. We saw Gohan beat the ever-loving hell out of Cell. We've seen beatdowns in Dragon Ball Z long before we get to this point where Spopovich is beating the crap out of Videl. But if you remove it from that context of what Dragon Ball Z has been thus far, you see a gigantic man stomping on a small woman. Like, no matter how much chi she may have, Videl, she may be able to fly now. Her father might be Hercule, who's honestly probably a really strong human. I mean, still no Yamcha, but I mean, he's pretty strong, Being of that lineage, it doesn't matter, because what we see, even with the context of what Dragon Ball Z is thus far, literally a gigantic show about people or strong dudes fighting each other, and then more strong dudes fighting each other, and then more strong dudes fighting each other. Watching a woman get beaten is very uncomfortable for some people. They don't like it. So you can't make a film where the woman is like actually struggling physically against the man and getting her ass kicked, because it'll make people feel uncomfortable. Now, interestingly enough, I will say there's only one film series where I've seen, maybe I'm just ignorant here, you guys might have more examples, but there's only one film series I've seen where a woman can like fight a dude, and even then it's just still supernatural, but like actually get her ass beat, and that's Underworld. Like, Selena, like, she gets it's really interesting. Like, Selena from the Underworld series gets put through the ringer. She gets her ass kicked a lot, and then only wins half the time because she outsmarts her opponent. It's actually, Underworld's actually pretty cool. There's a lot of shit that can make Underworld fantastic, but then there's a lot of shit that just kind of makes it suck too. But anyhow, Selena, I think, am I even saying her name? I'm pretty sure it's Selena. I'm pretty sure she's the main character in Underworld. If I'm wrong, I'll put a caption somewhere. But the point, I know what I'm not wrong in, and what I'm not wrong in is that in a lot of fights that she has, she just gets her ass kicked until like the very end. She pulls off something, like she does something clever and she kills them. So yeah, like that's like the only film series I've seen where like a woman is like physically struggles very hard against the male, and like, and even then she still doesn't win because she's stronger than them. She wins because she outsmarts them, right? And I'm thinking of the fifth one more particularly. Like she gains the ability to like flash step. It was so ridiculous. It was so ridiculous, man. She gets a power up and she still can't really match the main bad guy in the end, and she has to outsmart him. That's the only film series I've seen, with the female protagonist, really kind of has to win with her wits, more so than her physical strength, despite the fact that, I mean, she is a vampire. She does have the power to match some of these creatures, but you can't really, you're not really gonna, a lot of people honestly aren't gonna be very comfortable watching a man beat a woman. They're just not, for whatever reason. They're just not. So the reason why we have so many Mary Sues, I mean, apart from the whole, you could say cultural thing of like trying to create strong, empowered female characters for girls to identify with, is because, number one, realistically, there's no way a woman can like challenge a male without like some supernatural influence, right? Without something helping her out in this area. Most women in a physical confrontation, if both people are armed, male's probably gonna win. Excuse me, probably. It's just how it is. And also, people are very uncomfortable watching women like struggle, like physically struggle, like watching a woman like fight hard to beat a dude. Like, people are uncomfortable. They don't like watching that shit happen. So you can't really put that in a movie. You can't really put that in a film, and you can't really put that in most TV shows. I mean, Videl got the beat down one time, and I still see people to this day talking about that in Dragon Ball Z. The show came out a decade ago, and people are more than like 2 decades ago, and people are still talking about how uncomfortable it makes them. That's just how it is, Honestly, is there any real solution? The only real solution is that, again, if you're going to make a Mary Sue, you would make a Mary Sue. If you're going to make an overpowered female character, she has to be challenged by the plot in some way. And the truth of the matter is, that would be very consistent, because when it comes to the way women struggle in life, women don't really struggle in life against, like, the world and the elements. Like, the world is not really like where women struggle with. Like, as much as women talk about society and how it bothers them and what, no. A woman's greatest adversary is herself. It's her. It's the person in the mirror. So when you make a movie, when you make a film, you have to make it so that the thing that the woman's struggling with is herself. You know, she has to overcome whatever insecurities that she has, because physically speaking, there's just no way they're going to do that without magic. And if you don't make it so that the woman has to overcome herself in the movie and she's just super powerful and super strong and she's already confident, then you just get a film with no tension, and people aren't really going to enjoy it. Mulan does attempt this, not very well, but it does attempt it. It does try to some degree. I just think that the overall overcoming of her insecurity is a bit hollow in its execution, I will say. But it does try. So as far as the Mary Sues go, Mulan, she's not the most egregious, but she's still too overpowered for the movie that she's in. She's way too strong, and again, I can see the attempt in the film, I just don't think it was executed very well. And so that is why, in conclusion, viewers, we have a whole bunch of, well, I wouldn't say a whole bunch, but why we have a lot of Mary Sues recently. It's because, in conclusion, women can't fight men physically. They just can't. It's just game, set, match. And two, a lot of people aren't comfortable with violence against women. If a film really has a lot of tension and physical fight scenes and physical action, the woman is going to have to be getting her ass kicked at some point in time, and she's got to figure out some way to overcome it. People are really, really uncomfortable with that. They don't like watching it. So, people don't make it. So, with that being said, I just hope you guys got something out of today's video, and if you did, man, go and click the like button. You should go and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comments below, and as always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.